All right, welcome to another edition of Nourie's Niche. These are how-to videos on basic flatland. I'm trying to do a series of fundamentals and really some basic tricks to get riders that are actually new to the sport that want to learn flatland, and give them some tricks that may not be as intimidating and easier to learn, and also for riders that are returning from the sport, which I run into that a lot these days, where the riders that rode back in the day, but they're wanting to get back into it. And I just think it's good to offer some assistance in some of the tricks that I've had a lot of fun doing with over the years. And they don't have to be, you still have to put time and practice into them, but they don't have to be as difficult and challenging as some of the new school riders are doing. So today's trick is going to be the steamroller. I had a comment from Bobby Carlton, who's out in New York, and he said he would like to have a bit of help with steamrollers, which I think is great because it's a super good foundational trick, relatively basic. It's one of the first rolling tricks that I learned. And I do remember the first person that I saw do it was Mark Eaton himself, the creator, at a AFA contest, actually the night before the contest, in the parking lot during a late night session. And Mark's just going super fast all the way across the parking lot doing these steamrollers. And I was just very impressed and was excited to learn it. So, like I said, it's a great trick to build on. We'll probably work on doing steamrollers, and then the next link would be, I like to do steamrollers into funky chicken. So that would be maybe the next link that you could work on, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit. So first I'm just going to do it a couple times so you can see it, and then I'll kind of try to break it down and just point out some things to consider and some things that I think you might run into that could be challenging that maybe I can help with. Okay, so here we go. So to set up for this trick, I put my right foot on the left back peg, left foot on the front, and I kick it over and I grab the seat. And I drop it down and I smoothie out. So that's pretty much it. It's a relatively basic rolling trick. Again, I'm going relatively slow right now because I don't have a lot of room with this camera angle, and I want you to get the whole in and out. But you can do it faster as you get better, but I would say a relatively good speed. Kick it forward, hold the seat, use your leg to balance, smoothie out. Okay, one more time. There's threes. It's always good to work in threes. So again, I'm going to put my left foot on the front, kick it around, hold it, drop it, smoothie out. Okay, so a couple real key factors is when I do this trick, I'm really leaning way forward. My head is over the front wheel quite a bit. And to practice it, if you've never done it at all, I would say the first thing to do is just go like this. Just work on shifting your weight and pulling. It's almost like I'm pulling up with the bars and pushing with my foot back at the same time. Okay, so that's the motion. So that's like the first really, really basic step would be to go like this and just try to go like the back wheel off the ground. Once you can do that a few times and you feel relatively comfortable, the next thing I would say is go ahead and kick it around. So do the same thing, but this time we're just going to kick it around. Maybe just kind of walk it through like that. Just kind of let your foot drag and get that idea of it rolling in front of you. So again, we're going to go like this. We're going to kick it around, and we're just going to not even grab the seat yet. We're just going to roll, and no brakes at all for this trick. Again, I'll do that demonstration where I'm going to just kind of touch my foot, just kind of save it, like so. Okay, so then once you got that down, you feel comfortable, then just try not to touch your foot. Keep your foot off the ground. So we're just going to go like that. Okay, and I just said I don't use my brakes, but I just did use my brake there to save it. So I guess you could use the brake if needed. So I would say practice that a few times to where you can just roll it, which is just another trick that you can do, which is just a half lash where you go back and forth. Okay. If you get that down, and it kind of can help, because if you can get the frame in front of you and then you learn how to pump your bars so the frame goes back and forth. Oh! Did you feel that gust of gravity? The scenery pulled me right off the bike. Okay, so if you can get that where you can get like a half lash going, that can help a little bit because you can wait for it to grab the seat. So then the third step is grab the seat. So we're going to kick it around, wait, and then grab the seat. Now that time, I literally grabbed the seat right as it came around. You could also wait a bit. You could do almost that half lash and then grab the seat. Give yourself some time to practice this. And if you're feeling really like you can't even get into it, just practice doing this. No brakes. Put your foot on the front peg and kind of keep the tire pretty low and just practice going like this. Just do that for a few times so you get the idea how to roll it. I'll do that again. If you're going to go like this, you're going to hold it. Your leg is basically your counterbalance. Maybe even try that. Maybe even not even barely move forward. Just stand on the tire, just barely kick off, and try to hold your balance. That could help. Just getting comfortable. And as I said in other videos, it's just repetition, doing it over and over and over. It can be helpful to, instead of just trying to ride in and out every time and you're just not getting it, just to, if you're finding that the time when you go to kick it, it's just hitting the ground and you're not pulling out of it, then get used to just rolling like this and just try this over and over. Just try to coast like that. Then come back, do it again. This time make a marker and go, okay, I'm going to go past that line this time. This time I'm going to go past this crack of me. Boom, I got it, past the crack. Okay, next time I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the way to the end without touching, just rolling in the steamroller position, like kick off 1, 2, 3, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, and smoothie out. So that's mainly what I would consider on this trick. I guess I didn't really talk too much about rolling out, but the easiest way, I think, is just to smoothie out. You just drop the bike, grab your handlebar, and you just let it smoothie out. Now that also can be a little bit tricky if you've never done that before, because the bike can kind of get crazy if you don't turn it this direction. You want to prevent it from going this way, because then you're going to eat it, right? So one way to help that a little bit is if you lean the bike a little bit to the right, and when you let the bike drop down, it's naturally going to start to turn that way and smoothie right out. All right, so that's it. That's all I can think of. Practice, consistent, break it down. First learn how to just lean way forward and just lift that back end up. Then learn to kick it around. Just have a little bit of control. Maybe learn just to roll it and then put it all together. When you go to kick it up, keep the tire relatively low, because if you go too high, I'm going to try to demonstrate that to see if I can do what not to do. If I were to go really high up, it's going to hit the ground before I can pull it back. So keeping the rear wheel relatively low and just like swooping across the ground. So that motion with my leg is, it's on the rear peg and I'm just like pushing it out with my leg and leaning forward, but keeping the tire low to the ground. Okay, so that's it. I mean, that's all I can think of for now. But obviously, if there's something that you're getting stuck with, maybe video a little clip of you doing it and send it to me so then I can watch it, because that's always helpful when I'm working with riders and I see it and I thought, oh, yeah, your foot position. Like if your foot is on the edge of the peg, you're not really going to control it as well as if it's up against the fork. All these little things that I would notice, the way that you're holding the grip, maybe it's a little funky, or just your overall body position isn't leaning forward enough, or it's too far back. So all of those things factor in. So now, since we've got that, and I say give yourself like 5 days. I think you could do this trick in 5 days if you do it every day for 20 minutes. Just like break it down within 5 days. And I'd like to see someone do that challenge and send me a clip of them doing it within 5 days, because I think it's totally possible. Again, it's one of these basic tricks, shouldn't be too hard to learn, kind of the fundamentals, first rolling trick maybe that you're doing, but super, super good to be able to link it into other tricks. So that's what I want to do next, is steamroller into funky chicken. That's another funny little 80s trick. And it's funny, I was at the contest in Colorado Springs, Battle in the Rockies, and we were talking about why did someone name it the funky chicken. It's kind of a silly name. I'm not even sure who named it or who did the trick first, but we were looking up the dance, the funky chicken, and you're like flapping your arms. I'm like, well, really we should do a funky chicken and you should do it no-handed, and you should flap your arms like wings, and that would be a funky chicken. Well, I tried that, and it's really hard to do a funky chicken no-handed. I'm not even going to demonstrate that today because I'll probably crash. But so we're going to do a funky chicken. We're not going to flap our arms, but we're going to go into it from steamroller, step over, scuff the tire, funky chicken, maybe do a little one-hander. Okay, so again, we're going to start with the rear peg, front peg, kick it around, step over, scuff the tire, drop it down, step back, and roll out. That is a very short steamroller into funky chicken. I don't want to go out of the camera, so maybe I need to do it again and go a little bit in this circle so I come back into the shot. So let me demonstrate it again. Maybe I'll go a little faster. We're going to go steamroller into funky chicken, drop it down, step back over, smoothie out. Okay, so tips on this one. When you're doing your steamroller, all you need to do is this. I grab the brake right as I step over. So I'm like coasting, grab the brake, and then as I go over, I put my foot on the tire, let go of the brake, and start scuffing. Okay? What else can I say about that? I guess to practice that, it's the same thing. Just get in a position. This is really relatively easy to step into. I would grab the brake, put your foot on the tire first, then step up into the peg and practice that first. And just do that over and over and over until you feel relatively comfortable just scuffing. One of the things that I like to point out is when you're doing these tricks, you want to kind of concentrate on your center of gravity right over the peg. So it's like I'm almost thinking energetically, there's a string like going from the top of my head all the way through my body, right through my foot, through the peg, through the ground. That is the pivot point or balance point that's going to help you. So if you aren't lined up like that, it might look something like this. I don't know if I can do this right. Let's say you're a little bit too up like this, where the seat's up and you're kind of not over that balance point. Needs to be right there. My leg is kind of pushing up against my bar, and that's the key to keeping that balance. Okay, so I think that's about it. Steamroller into funky chicken. I'll do one more so you can see it. Please message me if you have any comments or, oh, see, I messed it. Let's try it again. Okay, steamroller, touch the brake, funky chicken. This time I'm going to come all the way around, drop it down, link it into something else, maybe a little swivel, which we learned last time. So that's it for today. Some basic tricks and some basic tips on the steamroller. Good luck, stay consistent, be persistent, and enjoy yourself, have fun, ride with some people. I always think that's good, if you can, because it's always motivating to find other riders that you can ride with and have sessions with. So thanks for watching, and reach out to me if you have any questions regarding any tricks that you might want to learn, or if you need specific tips on the steamroller. Thanks so much.